Então, vamos colocar o sino aqui.
Fits like a glove.
Não sei de onde ele tirou esse sino, né? Mas vambora. Vamos fazer o ritual agora. Primeiro a gente queima aqui o negócio. Olha, eu não sei vocês, mas eu acho que esse negócio vai ter alguma referência com o Blind Guardian. Vamos lá. Um toque, agora a gente queima a árvore.
Loud and powerful music follows the fog and the figures, crushing over your head in roaring waves.
Ó, metal.
The force of the music clouds your senses, and it seems as if the statue of the blind guardian rises from his throne. To your great surprise, you see that the stony figure of the blind guardian has revealed a tunnel that leads into the rock of the mountain.
Cara, só por causa desse metal que subiu, aí já é uma clara evidência que é um Easter egg de Blind Guardian, né, cara?
Right backers, we've done it!
Puta que pariu!
Up there!
Ah, esse bosta aí.
Run! I can't maintain this spell for long!
Put him on going gas shield. To the gate. Quick!
O meu melhor personagem. E aí pessoal, sejam bem-vindos a mais um The Dwarves aqui no canal. Vamos continuar, vamos direto de onde a gente parou. Então vamos falar com a rainha.
There is only one way to defeat Nodon. Keenfire. To forge it, we need the best smith your kingdom has to offer. Help us, and thus help your kingdom, my queen.
The queen considers, then nods.
So be it. Could there ever be a better time to revive the old commonality of the kingdoms? Balandis here is not only my best warrior, she is also my best smith. She will accompany you.
Your eyes fall upon Balandis, and you notice the blood rushing to your cheeks.
I will do my best. You can trust in my axe and my hammer.
Beleza, vamos lá.
We must continue on our journey to the Fifthlings in the Grey Range.
Then I will show you the entrance to the tunnels. You will be in the perished land within a few orbits.
You know the tunnels, but still the Firstlings live in seclusion.
Our isolation was self-imposed. My mother knew that the other kingdoms would not simply accept her as the queen. She wanted to give them time to get used to it.
Your Highness, in the name of the Council of the Kingdoms, I request that you send a delegation to the Blue Range to take part in the discussions. We all have a common enemy.
There has never been any enmity between my kingdom and the others. It was more neglected friendship and habit that has made us strangers to one another. As soon as you set off for the Grey Range, we will head east to see our brothers and sisters again. I will have rooms prepared for you and your companions so that you can rest. It has been some time since we have had guests, but we still know what hospitality means. Come to me when you are ready to depart.
Eita! Cadê a quest? Isso aqui eu já fiz, a Giralda. Missão cumprida, vamos lá. Quando é chamada pra lá, diz ela não é a primeira. Ah, vambora. Fica lendo não. Vamos falar com ela.
Hello.
What is it, Tundo?
Parece que vários anãos ocupam voos importantes
It
aqui.
would seem that a lot of important positions are occupied by female dwarves in the Firstling Kingdom.
Is it not common where you come from that men and women share the duties?
Of course. Among the humans and the secondlings, the women help out in the house so that the men have time for their duties. That's how it is written in the books, too.
Here, posts are assigned according to the skills of the applicant, not gender. It's only natural that the most important posts are occupied by women.
She winks at you and gives you a knowing glance, although the whole thing still befuddles you.
What is it like living with the firstlings? I haven't seen much yet, but many things seem to be different to life with the secondlings in Ogre's Death.
I can't make any real comparisons either. I grew up here and have never left our kingdom. I can hardly wait to see the halls of the Fiflings. They were the best smiths before we took on the mantle.
Don't expect too much. Their halls have been in the hands of the enemy for over 1,000 cycles.
I read that the orcs avoid the stronghold, as if there were a curse on it.
Even reading doesn't seem to be frowned upon among the firstlings. You feel at home here. But that isn't only down to the books.
See you later.
Vamos examinar.
You guess that this water powers all the machines in the underground city. A
Vixe.
masterpiece of engineering.
A maga tá aqui curando o cara. Vamos lá.
Ah, Tungdil. I was wondering when you would pay me a visit.
I thank you, and Jeroen. You appeared at the right moment. May I, ask why?
It was down to you. Your speech about the responsibility I owe to my realm. Lot Yonan was a good teacher.
Her face darkens when she thinks of her old companion.
There are 100 reasons that Nodon deserves to die. That is why I went back to the secondlings and took another look through the books. I discovered a passage that said Keenfire can only take its effect against evil when it is wielded by a foe of the Undergrounders.
A foe of the Undergrounders? It's going to be difficult to persuade Nork to help us.
I didn't mean to eavesdrop, but I think I might have an answer to the problem. The Alpha are also your foes, aren't they?
What the...
Half human, half elf. My mother bequeathed me her gifts and her weapons. I got very little from my father, but his eyes are an advantage.
We should keep your parentage secret, especially from Giralda.
I'm in no doubt that the Alpha did terrible things to her, and I'm not keen on letting her kill me.
If what Nomura told me earlier is true, this Giralda could be just as great a danger as Nodon. She could take control of generals or kings, maybe even me.
You are aware of the danger, but you don't have the energy to think about it right now. You push the problem aside.
And that's agreed. We will keep Nomura's secret to ourselves.
Certeza sobre a questão preocupante acerca.
I'm sure that only a foe of the Undergrounders can use Keenfire.
Anyone can use it like a normal axe, but only a foe of the Undergrounders can command its magical powers. I don't know much about her, but a half-elf should pass as a foe of all dwarves.
All right then. You will wield Keenfire in the battle against Nodon. But we're going to have to make it first.
You said it.
The actress takes her leave with a little nod.
Vamos perguntar do cara.
How are things with Jeroen? Could you help him?
He's doing well. He should be back to full strength after some rest.
You still don't know what kind of being is hidden under the armor, but the Mager's powers seem to have done a good job.
The firstlings have offered to improve his armor, and when one of the best smiths in Girdlegard offers something like that, you should definitely take them up on it.
How are you and your powers? You look a little exhausted.
I won't lie to you. It has already been too long since I was in a place where I can draw new strength. My power is trickling away like water from a leaky pipe.
Is that perhaps a way to weaken Nodon?
No, I wouldn't count on that. Even if we could keep him away from the magical realms, the being that lives within him has given him unknown powers.
How was Syntheras able to overcome your shield? Can Alpha use magic?
No, certainly not. I don't know much about their people, but I think they have innate powers. Conjuring darkness, extinguishing fire, changing dreams. Little things that fill humans with fear and ensure the potency of terrifying legends about their people. Syntheras used a trick, not a spell. We killed 2 Alfar near Sovereignstone. They had crystals on them which they had received from Nod-On to protect them from the spells of the Magi. He must have used a stone like that.
Take some rest. And I hope you'll still be here at dawn.
The Maga gives you a reproachful look.
Don't worry. We'll stand by you until this expedition has reached its destination.
It feels good having the Maga and her companion at your side again.
Bom, acho que ali a gente vai conseguir ir, né? Mas não dá. Então vamos virar aqui, que não dá pra entrar. Vambora. Esse cara tá fazendo a guarda. Esses são 2 soldados anões. Vamos falar aqui.
Giralda looks depressed.
Ah, Giralda.
You look like something's bothering you.
It's just... they avoid me. You're the only one who talks to me.
Yeah, well, you did try to kill us when we first met you.
Giralda gives a wry smile.
Not exactly the best of first impressions, right?
You're not a bad person, Giralda. Just give them some time.
Falando nisso, eu joguei com ela e ela é uma excelente personagem, cara.
You said you wanted to join the Free Folk. What do you know about them?
To be honest, I don't know very much at all. It is said they are like a kingdom, just without a kingdom. No clans, no obligations and traditions, no repressive expectations. Just dwarves living together.
And where do I find them?
Everywhere and nowhere. They hide. I think I almost found one of their cities. I don't know anymore.
See you later.
Opa, o cara tá aqui, ó. Ao contrário e Fergus. Vamos lá.
It is simply legendary. No, it is mythical. We definitely need a large theatre so we can convey the impression of this grandeur to the spectators.
It's going to be difficult, but we'll manage it. But it will be more expensive.
It would appear you like it here.
Ha! Like it? It is fabulous. I almost feel like giving up. Not even the best of illusions could possibly imitate this. But say, what brings you to us, Tungdil?
Why didn't you say that Namora is half-elf?
If our spectators knew, they would run away screaming. So I'm sure you'll understand that we couldn't tell a group of armed dwarves either.
You have to admit that you don't know how you would have reacted if Namora had revealed herself in Mifadania. Fear and hatred of the Alpha is deeply rooted.
You already know her, Tungdil. She has skills, but her lineage does not determine how she thinks and acts. She is the love of my life, and I would go crazy if I were to lose her.
Every step from here on is more dangerous than the last. Are you sure you want to continue on our journey with us?
Of course. Every story needs an end. What kind of play would it be without a third act?
There is no way I'm going to let Namora ride into battle on her own. I will be there to assist her.
And how is your new play coming along?
Good, very good. The band of adventurers who set off to defeat Nod-On, aided by the Queen of the Dwarves from the Kingdom of the Firstlings. It's going to be a real challenge to present this story in all its greatness.
Do you already have a title?
I haven't decided for sure yet, but at the moment I'm thinking along the lines of the heroic dwarves and their loyal companions who opposed Nod-On despite all the challenges to destroy him and save Girdlegard.
I must go. Rest now.
Rest? Haven't you seen? There are machines that keep the whole city alive. I must take a look.
Vamos entrar no quarto dos doentes aqui.
Tungdil.
How is he?
He's lost a hell of a lot of blood.
The crazy glint in Boindale's eyes has given way to serious concern.
I'm doing fine. You must rest, brother. Stay on your back so the wounds can heal. Fortunately, he hasn't lost his pig-headedness. As long as he has that, he'll come through.
Boindale forces a grin, but you can imagine what he's really thinking and feeling.
I thought Andakai was going to look after him. Didn't her magic help?
We don't want her help. Magic is no use. And we certainly don't want anything to do with Somerset.
You know there is no point arguing with the twins about magic. There is too much of a fine line between conviction and stubbornness. Boandal would rather die than be healed by the Mager.
We'll have to go on without him. He won't manage more than 100 paces without dropping down dead the state he's in.
No! I'll manage, Scholar.
Caralho.
Just give me 2 orbits, then I'll be fine. It's just a scratch.
Boandal tries to stand up, but he doesn't have the strength. You shake your head.
Stay here and recover, Boandal. We'll meet you again in time for the big battle against Nodon. You have done your bit.
But where one of us is,
personagem,
the other
mano.
is too. It is the greatest deed that has ever been carried out by our people. Oh. It would seem you are right, Scholar.
We'll be separated for the first time in our lives. I will miss you by my side in battle. The first 100 runts will be for you.
You will have to protect him and the others on your own now, brother. Don't take on too much, and rein in your frenzy. You must control your anger better than you usually do. Promise me.
I promise.
Tears run down the bearded cheeks of the 2 twins. They have never had to part like this before.
Fazer o quê? Agora eu vou ter que ser o meu melhor personagem. Bosta. Vamos seguir aqui, ó. Vamos ver. Até agora não achei o Beldão.
I've gathered all of the metal we need for Keenfire. I'm ready to depart.
You nod and then look her solemnly in the eyes.
Once we set off, stay in the background, keep out of fights, and avoid all danger.
The female dwarf's expression darkens.
Shall we engage in a trial fight, Mr. Dwarf?
No, Bifracus. No, I know that female dwarves can fight. It's because of the axe. You're the only one who can forge it. If something happens to you, we won't be able to stop Nodon.
The face of the smith relaxes, and then a smile appears on her lips.
I can look after myself.
Vamos lá.
Greetings, Queen Zamtis.
The queen bows her head slightly, prompting you to speak.
Please excuse me for asking, Your Highness, but how is it that a queen is sitting on the firstling throne?
The queen smiles. She has clearly been expecting the question.
It began with an argument. My father valued my mother's advice, but disputed her ability to lead the kingdom. This frustrated her, and she demanded the chance to prove the contrary. In the end, they agreed that my mother would govern the firstlings for 14 orbits. During this time, there was an attack by trolls, and my mother put them to flight with cunning and bravery. When my father demanded the throne again, she defied him, and the clans followed her. The other kingdoms were appalled and refused to receive my mother, but our kingdom saw that she was a good queen. And when she died 230 cycles ago, the people demanded that I should follow her onto the throne.
Is everything ready for our journey to the kingdom of the Fiflings?
We have provided wagons for you and your companions. Are your preparations complete?
Beleza, vamos lá.
Yes, we are ready.
The queen nods slowly.
Rally your companions. I will march east with my host, but don't be misled. The fate of the perished land is in your hands, not mine. May you succeed and return unhurt. Vrakas be with you.
Beleza, vamos partir pra jornada.
The plains of Tubain are the most fertile in Girdlegard, and rightly give the kingdom its nickname of the breadbasket. The east of the land has been in revolt since the perished land advanced, and the peace seems to have broken in the heartland too, as a group of strangers crawl out of a hole in the ground.
Why don't we just look for a tunnel that hasn't collapsed?
And what if we don't find one? If we're overground, we at least know that there's a way, even if it's dangerous. Let's go.
If we are looking for somewhere to quench our thirst or for a roof over our heads, then I would recommend the Golden Well Tavern. And we can find everything we need for the rest of our journey at the big market. Just say where you want to go, Tungdil, and I'll show you the way.
You give Namora a sign and sneak onto the first floor. The half-elf appears moments later. To your surprise, she has Balandis with her, who must have caught something of what was said.
I want to know who the dwarf who is sneaking around here is. Perhaps he belongs to Gandagar's group.
After apologising to various guests for intruding, you are left with just one untried door. Namora picks the lock and you enter the room unseen. The room is bigger than all the rooms in the tavern you have seen so far, and all just for one guest. There are maps, various pieces of notepaper, and 3 notebooks on the table.
Pega tudo. Anotações.
The notes are partly written in Dwarvish and partly in the language of humans. The 3 of you scan through them until Balandis draws your attention to a map on which the route from the kingdom of the firstlings to the kingdom of the fifthlings is marked.
What would make a firstling travel to the perished land, or even to the kingdom of the fifthlings?
You believe you've found an explanation.
Here, this letter. I have found a way, but I don't know if I will return safely with Star Slasher. That's why I leave to you, dear Barris, my notes, may you, and so on.
Star Slasher?
You have come across this name in the notes a few times already, but you just shrug your shoulders and throw the letter back onto the table in disappointment. You had hoped to have found out some news on the whereabouts of the other group.
A sword. Apparently it was given to Giselbert I by a caravan travelling from the other lands. It seems we're dealing with a treasure hunter.
The big market at the city's south gate certainly lives up to its name. You have never seen a market on such a scale. Stands, large and small, as far as the eye can see. Everything you could possibly need can be found here, as well as plenty of things that seem to have no use at all. While you push your way through the crowd to get to the trader Rodario wants to introduce to you, you overhear 2 peasants talking about elves.
No, I tell ya, it was elves. Pale skin, pointy ears.
Yeah, something strange is going on these days. Old Trundlewood from down Acrehill way said he saw some pointy ears too. Come to think of it, where's he been all week?
Here we are.
Rodario's sudden announcement draws your attention away from the locals to the tent that you're now standing in front of.
Welcome to Brand's Potpourri. Whatever your heart may desire, I can supply.
Bom, Poço Dourado a gente já foi. Vamos prosseguir a viagem. Tem que ir até lá. Tem monte de ponto de interrogação para mexer. Bom, vamos reto.
You are woken with a jolt in the middle of the night by a blood-curdling scream. You look around in panic and see that the others have been woken too, but only Giralda has beads of sweat on her brow. She's breathing heavily. Concerned, you go over to her.
I can remember. The Alfar. They are doing experiments on the children of the Smith. We have to save them.
Puta que pariu. Pera aí. Pouco Alpha experimentos que você está falando.
Experiments? What are you talking about?
I can remember everything. Or at least some of it. I know that I was taken prisoner by the Alfar, along with other dwarfs. They experimented on us and I somehow escaped.
Where was this exactly?
They are here, nearby. It was a village, I think.
An Alfar village in Tabain? Doesn't sound very likely.
Bom, a gente tem que ajudar, mano.
Rakus, if the Alfar are experimenting on dwarves, we can't just ignore it. We have to free the prisoners. We can't save the world if we ignore the suffering right in front of our eyes. We will help Giralda.
Boandal and the others accept your decision. Giralda nods at you gratefully.
De acordo com Giralda, ela faz fazer experimentos com os anões em algum lugar nas redondezas. Ela acha que pode ser o resultado desses experimentos. Embora a criação do Machado do Fogo tenha prioridade, você não suporta a ideia. Mano. Vamos procurar, vai. Vamos por aqui. Também não é essa.
The plains of Tabain are the most fertile in Girdlegard, and rightly give the kingdom its nickname of the breadbasket. The east of the land has been in revolt since the perished land advanced, And the peace seems to have broken in the heartland too, as a group of strangers crawl out of a hole in the ground.
Why don't we just look for a tunnel that hasn't collapsed?
And what if we don't find one?
Ah, mesma
If we're
fala,
overground, we at least know that there's a way, even if it's dangerous. Let's go.
Vamos pra cá. Bom, então a gente sabe que não é nada disso, né? Nós temos aqui. Será que é aqui, mano? Ó, vamos explorar tudo, né? Uma vila não pode ser. Vamos só pegar esses pontos aqui, mas não é. Não é mesmo. Vambora. Cara, vamos pra cá. Pra cá. Interrogação, vamos ver.
When you reach Acre there isn't a single villager in sight. An uneasy feeling creeps over you, which finally turns into certainty when you see red paintings on the walls of the houses.
Alpha.
Procure pistas.
As expected, you don't find any survivors, but there are also no undead. The Perish land has not yet advanced this far. You discover some footprints on the northern edge of the village.
It was orcs. Looks as though they waited here while the point ears wreaked havoc in the village. It seems like they moved on towards the north.
Examine as pinturas mais de
The
perto.
pictures, painted in blood, tell the horrifying story of how the Alfar came to the village and killed the inhabitants. You also find a few elaborately carved bones, some larger ones, like those of humans, some smaller and stronger, like those of dwarves. When you reach the other end of the village, disgust is written in the faces of your companions. None of you says a word.
Queime os ossos
You
lá
gather all the bones you can find together and burn them. You wash over the paintings with water from the well.
Caralho, mano.
You weren't able to prevent this gruesome incident, but you don't want to leave a single trace of it behind.
Bosta. Bom, tem um forte aqui. Vamos fazer o seguinte, a gente vai voltar. Vamos fazer todo o trajeto,
You
né?
see before you the edge of the eternal forest, the elven kingdom of Alandor, in which the last of the elves live. Since the Alfar invaded Girdlegard with the orcs, they have hunted their cousins down, banished them and taken their forests for themselves. You are interested in the kingdom of the elves, but it wouldn't be a good idea to enter the forest with dwarves, a half-elf, and whatever Jiroon is. Some way from the path, you come across an old campsite between some rocks. A trampled-out campfire and scattered belongings, papers, bottles and a necklace, suggests that the traveller either had to flee in a hurry or was abducted.
That is a firstling necklace. I recognise the emblem. It belongs to the clan of the Roughblades.
We only know of one firstling out so far west these days, the dwarf whose notes we found in the tavern.
Star Slasher. If King Giselbert really did wield this sword, it would be an unbelievably valuable artifact. Just imagine if the sword really existed.
It's not worth losing your life for, or, in the worst case, losing your life and then rising again.
Porra. Procure mais pistas.
You look around again more closely, but there's not much here that could help you. The ground is too hard for footprints, and the objects that have been left behind could have come from any old dwarf trader.
Vamos sobre o clã das
Do
armas.
you know anything about the Rough Blades, Balandis?
Every firstling knows of the clan. They have a long tradition as weaponsmiths, though their work is often exotic and sometimes thought of as undwarfish. They experiment a lot with blade shapes and hilt lengths. Their weapons are easy to recognise.
Sounds as though someone from a clan like that would definitely be very interested in a legendary sword.
You walk through the villages that once blossomed, but are now deserted due to the advance of the Perish land. The colour has drained away from the wood of many of the houses, just as it has from the countryside itself. A carpet of withered plants rustles and crackles under your feet. You don't know if the Perish land can ever be driven away again, and even if it can, it is questionable whether people will ever live here again. You sigh, and try to drive these dark thoughts away from your mind.
Putz. Bom, vamos voltar. A gente vai aqui agora.
The path to Lake Fire lies in front of you. That is where the dragon Brambusil is said to have dwelt, before being killed by the Fifthlings, so they could light the Dragonfire Forge with his flames. Rodario sings a song about the dreadful might of the dragon, and you all look down into the flames below with reverence. When you finally turn away, you think you can see a slight look of sorrow in Boindil's face. sadness at the fact that the dragon has already been defeated by someone else.
vai, vamos interrogação.
Ooh, do you smell that? Come! Oink, oink!
Without even waiting for you, Boindil runs over the hill and disappears behind it. You follow him, and as you reach the brow, you see a very strange scene before you.
Putz, cara.